Let's find out in game 2, though, what Torpedo choose to do. Picks and bans are ready. We're in again. Torpedo will be first pick, first ban, so they're going to switch things up this set.
Torpedo see what they value here in the meta right now, or what they don't want Fnatic to have. I could definitely see the Adanas ban, and I think Torpedo agree. See, I feel like people forget how good Zyrhoes is with Adanas. Like, they'll start banning it away, and he like won't get to play it for like 3 weeks in a row, and then someone lets him play it, and then it's just they get destroyed, and then they're like, all right, we forgot.
Even in the negative games that Fnatic have had this season, he still had good performances on it and died very, very little. Real respect coming out from Torpedo, though. Adanas and Athena, BigManTingz, like we said, involved in every kill up, bar 2. 0-125 was his slash line.
Athena's one of, if not the best support from ahead, right? Barring like damage-oriented gods like Ares who can burn beads. All you have to do, it's because you get so tanky, and the other team can't all-in you. Even though they had that all-in wombo combo, it wouldn't have been enough to kill BigManTingz because of how far ahead he was and how deep into his build is that you just dash forward, taunt, and just force so many relics. And Fnatic don't even have to follow up on that. It's actually just, you have to, as Torpedo, on that defensive end against an Athena who's so far ahead, you just have to burn your relics. You have to get out. You can't risk getting taunted into death.
Chronos go to, and we actually saw that banned away in game 1 by one of the teams. I want to say it was Torpedo that banned Chronos.
I think it was Torpedo,
away.
Yeah.
Sol is available as well, and we've seen Fnatic go to Sol, so we may see both those mages make play this game.
I prefer Realzx on like the traditional hunters, right? Kind of like Zapman, right? We've seen Shaggy Shank right now over in Cringe Crew just killing it on the mages, the Sol and the Chronos. But when I look at Realzx, I always feel like he has so much more success on traditional hunter gods. And Fnatic, they're going to go Bacchus, though, so taking it away from Murrdurr and giving it over to BigManTingz.
First time I've actually seen BigManTingz pick this up so far this season. He's played Athena, Combat, Ares, and Sobek, but they all have a very similar strategy in mind. Aggression, aggression, aggression on his Guardians and Bacchus. One of those. And immediately Fnatic will go back to Hou Yi with Apollo being banned by themselves.
They'll get one of the 3 they wanted. The other 2 banned away. And Torpedo, they're going to respond with Geb. So a lot of respect for kind of that burst damage coming out from Fnatic's duo lane. Bacchus, Hou Yi can just kill you, even at level 3. Like, they have a lot of damage if you find a Ricochet, and they're also going to take away Jiffy's Thor.
3 shots at Fnatic's last lineup from Torpedo here. Take away the Thor as well. What will Jiffy go to? Well, he's picked up Ninja multiple times. Will we see it again?
It's a very comfort pick, I think, for a lot of the junglers now.
Yeah, you said that. You need to have it in this meta.
You have to, right? Last season, it's like, all right, every other team might have a Naja player, like, and they'll play it like once or twice a week. But now it's like 60%. We've seen it in 60% of games. It's going to be Isis, though, picked up for Fnatic. So a lot of damage, and a lot of damage early for them.
Fnatic banning away the Neath as well there. I guess they're worried about that Neath going mid lane. We could actually see, Moex pick up that Chronos for the AD carry role. Hasn't run it so far this season, though. He's basically, Chronos has been going mid every time, so expect Korinyo to be on that mid lane Chronos.
This could be a good spot for Kali, but it's going to be Hunbat, so okay, I actually like this, because the thing with Hunbats is it doesn't matter how bad you're playing, right? And don't get me wrong, Jifffy played phenomenally. I don't want to say it like that. Jifffy played, that was the best game we've seen from Jifffy, but even if you get behind early, you still have Fear No Evil, right? That is one of, if not the best teamfighting ultimates in the game right now.
Anhur locked in for Moex, and finally we'll see what their last pick will be, which is for the solo lane for Gamehunter. He'll take Vamana this time, so what's MrCrunchy going to do? He subbed in today for today's games.
Is he going to go to the Osiris? Is he going to be like, all right, Gamehunter, I'm going to show you how to bully
I'm not worried about Crunchy's god pull here. From what I've seen about his past performances, he's been very, very varied. He even run some mages over in the solo lane too, like Noir. So it wouldn't surprise me what he goes with. Amaterasu, going to be the choice.
I really like this team comp from Fnatic. They have a lot of options, right? They have a lot of early pressure with the Isis, Hou Yi, Bacchus as well. While not the best, kind of lane dominating duo, the fact that they're up against a Geb, you can more than expect them to have the pressure there. Amaterasu just going to be farming up early, going to be a monster late game. Hunbat's for the team fighting ultimate. And the thing here is, right, there's no just true hard carry outside of the Hou Yi, right? You always think of like, well, who's going to go off late game, right? You'll look at, the Chronoses, the Kalis. There's no true hard carry on Fnatic, but all of them do so much damage that it doesn't matter.
Chronos being played by Moex this game. We've not seen him do that this year, and we've not actually seen Anhur, any Hunter actually picked up in the mid lane by Korinyo either so far. So, a bit of a switch up between those two.
I'll be interested to see how this Anhur works out. We've seen a lot of the hunters start to be played mid. Heroine to Apollo. We've always seen the Neath there. The Medusa from Yaman.
Neath, Medusa, Chiron were the first real 3. Then we saw some Ulls. Actually, if we go really far back, Ul was the first one.
I mean, if you go really far back, you've seen an Anhur as well. The Boosh played it in Season 1.
Well, Ul played by Boosh as well.
Oh, yep.
Was
in Season 1 as well. Yeah, I think so.
all days.
Bush knew.
Now, Anhur in mid is an interesting one because there's one thing that we've not really touched on is the wall factors, which is something that came from the old Titan boys back in the day, where they ran 3 walls. It was Ymir, Thor, Anhur. Well, this time, they've got Thor, Anhur in mid. If you can position those walls perfectly, you can cut off the entire lane.
Here's the thing that's a little bit worrying, though, is that Korinyo not going to be able to knock back Zyrhoes and Wingust, right? You know?
Yeah, true.
Wingust immune to knockbacks, which I do expect that Torpedo are looking for pressure in the mid. And honestly, the one thing about Anhur is he has a lot of kill potential when he hits 5, but I don't think he has a lot of kill potential against Isis, because also his ultimate is tick-based, which means it's not going to be an all-in, like, I'm just going to kill you right here and there. And Isis is going to be able to throw down circle protection and negate a lot of that damage, heal it back up.
Big win for Torpedo early here. They take the right-hand halfies at the beginning of this game, and Korinyo solo gets lane pressure. He did lose a little bit of experience for NinjaBobat there by doing that, but gets lane pressure, which allows him to get the left-hand harpies too. So Korinyo should be hitting 5 a lot quicker than everybody else this game.
And it looks like Fnatic are a little bit worried about this combination. You can see there is a lot of damage early, and if Korinyo could find a crit, I mean, Isis's god or health pool is not that much, and look at this, already under tower, Isis Hunbots.
Great wall coming out there from Bobat, just to deny the Wingust and wave clear, which means it's going to keep them even longer on clearing the wave.
All right, I just realized what it is, right?
Go.
You let the Isis Wingust, you stun her from behind with Thor wall, and then you impale her.
Yep, I can see that.
So it interrupts it, and then you have your wall to guarantee the stun.
Great wave clear, level 4 already reached for Korinyo. You can see obviously he's ahead of Bobat there. Now, one thing to talk about as we, as we actually go into this game is what Fnatic have to do against Torpedo here, because Fnatic have to burst targets down, because otherwise there's a lot of safety factors here for them and actually reviving. You've got Moex with that rewind on Chronos. You've also got Gamehunter who can go into Big Baby and heal back up. Then you've got to burst through the Murrdurr shield that's going to come out from the Geb too. So it's going to be all about burst from Fnatic, but the good news is they've got a burst in lineup here.
And looks like a gank setup here. Gamehunter pushing Crunchy under tower. He was able to heal back up with the stance switches and his potions, but it looks like NinjaBobat wants to force something, but I mean, I don't. That's kind of a weird gank, because MrCrunchy just got bullied so hard. You can't expect him to kind of walk out of that tower.
Oh, you're Amaterasu. You're going to have a bad matchup anyway. Why not gank his NinjaBobat? Korinyo's doing fine in mid lane here as we tune to the left-hand side contest from Fnatic over those boards, which I think they
stole
there. But what you can actually see, Korinyo's doing a good job in mid on his own. He doesn't really need the support, He had the lane pressure on here, so it allowed Bobat to rotate over and potentially find that pick on Amaterasu. I like the call.
And Crunchy continuously. I'm just talking about the timing of it.
Yeah.
It's like Crunchy was just at like 5% health, and he has no more potions, which means he's not going to walk out of that tower. Now, if Gamehunter starts zoning there, I think that's something he could have looked at, but it's always weird to zone as a solo laner.
By the way that looked, like Crunchy was so low under the tower that I think Gamehunter made the call, like, listen, he's really low, and he's like, oh, my health potions, if you come over, we'll get the kill. But the regen was just so good from that benevolence aura that comes out from Amaterasu. Murrdurr in trouble, gonna get hit by not the ricochet, because it actually missed then, as he was up in the air at the time, just so you know.
He actually couldn't do anything. Yep. There was actually nothing he could have done there. He gets knocked up before he hits the ground. He gets stunned by the ricochet, and then Fear No Evil right after that. And he was silenced during that entire duration. Just very well executed gank for Fnatic.
And we're seeing this little trio of Fnatic now starting to exist. They're allowing, Zyrhoes just to be himself in mid lane. Be himself in mid lane, but then the jungler support and Realzx are just combining perfectly right now. As we do see a good response from Torpedo, though, stealing away the blue on the right side.
And I think Fnatic, they read that as well, so they're going to go and steal away the red. And this should be free, unless Murrdurr makes a hero play, but I feel like he's just risking dying himself.
Yeah, they're going to find it, going to give it over to Realzx yet again. And Realzx got a lot of those red buffs last game too, just to keep himself going. And First Blood did go to him once again, so
Torpedo want to
warrior type. We may see a fight here.
Yeah, you can see Geb from the back. It's going to be Bobat to the sky, and there's the Cataclysm on 3.
Good stun coming out from Bobat, but it was more for a disengage. Jifffy still going in with the help of BigManTingz and Realzx, and they will take out Korinyo. The mid laner falls, and now Murrdurr's trying to run away, but gets silenced out of the rollout.
This is very awkward for Torpedo. It was actually just a man down. Rotation's coming from Gamehunter though, and Bobat actually will be able to pick up Zyrhoes, and now Gamehunter here as well. And look at this from the top side, it's Moex.
He's
going to find the stun.
Going to find it on Jifffy. Good follow-up damage as well. Jifffy will die before he can jump to the monkey, and Gamehunter makes them pay with a very good rotation, abusing his early game advantage over an Amaterasu in solo.
That was really surprising, actually. So first off, you see Torpedo forced the fight a man down, right? It's a 4v3, and they're fighting into an Ice Assault and an Intoxicate. It's really not worth doing that, but they force it anyway, they lose. And then Fnatic get a little bit too greedy, they stay around in mid lane too long, and because of that, the rest of Torpedo that weren't in that fight, Gamehunter and Moex were able to actually rotate and find 2 return kills, so good play from them.
Good play from Moex coming over actually helps him out a lot. Now got Doomob online because of that kill, and he's going to have a tough matchup now with Realzx with those 3 kills early on. You can see goal difference between the two there is around 500 already, thanks to First Blood and the 2 additional.
We haven't seen Realzx back just yet, so I expect him to be full buying boots here. There he goes. And also starting up Aussie as well, so.
Yeah, continue working on the Aussie, get the extra attack speed online as well, to be in a good spot. So Korinyo falling down there. Bit unfortunate for him, he was having a good game up until that point, but ends up getting picked for that kill in the mid lane.
Korinyo's been getting a lot of solo farm.
That hot and spicy crit coming out from Korinyo.
Gotta love it, 10%, man. And Zyrhoes takes 1 stun, a couple autos, already at half life, and Korinyo is just, look at them, they're so scared. Like, obviously the rest of Torpedo are like around the corner as well, but it's been all game. They've been very scared of Korinyo's Anhur.
I mean, there is a Thor in the jungle as well, as when that happened, then they were all under the tower. You actually saw that Moex was missing from lane 2, so Realzx would have called that. But Cataclysm, Impale, Jifffy deleted. But a good Spirit Ball from Zyrhoes, not going to be followed up on though, however, as the pings being spammed out onto Realzx in the rotation. You mentioned last game, wall coverage from Torpedo may be a bit slack over in the duo lane. Well, when you see it now, it's lit up like a Christmas tree right now as we look at a gank in mid.
Zyrhoes just trying to farm here. It's going to be NinjaBobat crashing down. Circle protection not going to be enough to save him. And Bobat finds that one.
Sun's slowed because of the mark of the crow. Wheels going in. Will get the kill for the team, but Bobat is around the back. Can he make it even happen? Low on mana though. Going to use the in-hand. Good stun coming out from Tingz in response. As now we see Crunchy make a rotation. Didn't find the kill with the reflection, but Crunchy could be in a bit of an awkward position now because Moex and Gamehunter turn up and answer back.
You know, interesting enough, Crunchy honestly could have killed Boat there, but I don't think he understood his own damage or knew how much damage that he was going to be able to do to that Thor, and then he managed to get out, and then the rotation from Gamehunter just knocking him up, locking him in place. Couldn't get that dazzling offense off, and he falls. And once again, some more back and forth, but Torpedo getting the better end of it this time.
They will get the blue buff on the right-hand side, Torpedo, and this time defend their own red buff in response. They're going to get that one picked up as teleport comes in from MrCrunchy back to the right-hand side. That's a power play advantage now for Torpedo. Gamehunter should be calling out to the team. They should be looking for a goal fury, knowing that Amaterasu would have to run across the whole map.
And Gamehunter just continuously pressing out MrCrunchy. Now, this is to be expected, obviously, in this matchup. Amaterasu just doesn't really do much early. Obviously, coming to late game, that's when she's the powerhouse. Not only is she going to be taking a lot of damage, but has the auras to keep her team or make her team stronger as well. And now another fight in the mid lane, but a good Spirit Ball.
Wall, though, in response from NinjaBobat was on point to deny any further damage. Follow-up to that, though. Left Harpies will now go the way of Torpedo as Korinyo heads back to mid to continue farming up.
And Torpedo have been putting so much pressure onto Zyrhoes in this matchup, just not even letting him farm. The second he steps out into the lane, Korinyo's jumping over the wall, Murrdurr's blinking, or, you know, NinjaBobat's ulting, and he hasn't really been able to get anything going. Already 2 deaths.
It's worked out well so far for Torpedo. My one concern, though, is Fnatic's Realzx is 4-0. He could technically carry this game on his back if he needs to, if he can continue to just keep that pace up. He's turned up to the engagements, finding the kills, and still managing to get away from the danger afterwards too. You saw him diving deep for that pick earlier on Korinyo, and didn't even get punished for it.
All right, Torpedo, they're going to look to stop this red. They are over wards, though.
Realzx is also here, though, but the wall comes out a little bit late. The double tap only hit a single. Zyrhoes under pressure with the Desert Fury coming down. He will be evaporated. Korinyo gets the kill. Murrdurr. Sorry, BigManTingz trying to zone away Korinyo, I should say, as Jifffy already used his ultimate. Not going to find the pick on Bobat, who jumps away. Low on mana is Jifffy there, so he can't really get involved in this.
Oh, Korinyo, though, going to get stunned. A beautiful wall, though, and should dissuade any further aggression in Fnatic. They're going to lose Zyrhoes, but they do secure the red buff, and Korinyo barely makes it out.
I actually think even if they did find Korinyo there, Gamehunter, you just saw him swing to mid lane, then he probably would have found their pick as Real's under pressure. Going to jump back to tower safely there. But Gamehunter making that rotation to mid, he would have punished Fnatic if they overstayed any further than that. So maybe they lost Korinyo, but Gamehunter would have picked up a kill or two for sure.
And Fnatic, they're having a little bit of trouble on picking a target. You saw multiple members of Torpedo get low, but they were it just seemed they were all on different targets. Jifffy was trying to kill Bobat. I believe it was Realzx who was focusing on Murrdurr. And then I believe it was BigManTingz who was actually the one looking at Korinyo. Everyone was on different targets, and then they tried to switch, but then they all just kind of stood there. And maybe a little bit of a faster reaction time would have allowed them to find one of those return kills. But they're still in a pretty good spot. 6-4, read the kills. Torpedo is in the lead.
I was going to say, I want to see the
2,000
graphs.
gold.
There's 4,000 experience, which realistically, it doesn't seem too much, but at 10 minutes in, it is. And when you actually look at where that experience is between the two players, 2-level lead for Korinyo in the mid lane. It was 3 a second ago. And a level lead for NinjaBobat in the jungle, and a level lead for Gamehunter as well. So all the ones that you really want to see leads on early is going in their favor.
Torpedo, though, they're going to be starting up this Gold Fury. Or at the very least, seeing if they can bait it. They quickly drop it as they... the baits.
Is it a good bait, though? That's the question. The Impale does hit Zyrhoes. He's dead. Again, evaporated before the Fear No Evil can come off from Jifffy. Murrdurr gets credit for the kill. Looking for the damage on Jifffy with the Desert Fury from Korinyo there. Not going to find it. Crunchy does teleport in here, though, and looking to pressure. Going to get the ult off. Is NinjaBobat going to fall? Good pillar. Good Impale coming out from Korinyo to keep his teammate alive. But Realzx picks up Murrdurr in the process. Gamehunter around the back.
He's looking for a couple members. He's going to slow MrCrunchy, but the aura should keep him alive for now. But a great wall. Now Crunchy forced back into his own jungle, and Gamehunter's chasing him down. There's the dash. There's the slow, and Gamehunter should find this here. One more hit from MoX.
Gonna find it, but doesn't get the flop off does BigManTingz, so Gamehunter did a good rotation and combined nicely with MoX for the pick. This is a good game for Torpedo right now. They're finding the priority targets time and time again. The only priority they can't find at the moment is this man here who's doing his Diabors.
He has all 5 kills on Fnatic side. Mid lane, though, it looks like Fnatic, their tier 1 tower is getting pressured. Crunchy and Zyrhoes managed to hold, but Zyrhoes has just been getting bullied. This is like, he's MoX, right, from game 1. The focus has been on him, and there's really not much he can do. He's even gone into the Dynasty plate helm because he's been under so many ganks, under so much pressure. I would almost like to see him go into breastplate as a Valor as well, just like, accept the fact that you're not going to be able to do damage at this point and hold out for late game.
I can see that. I also feel like Jifffy on this home Batz, he's not really taken off this game as much as he did the previous game. He's kind of sat back a little bit. His Fear No Evils have been a little bit off point in terms of like the timing. Whether it's because he's been CC'd the whole time or not is a different story. However, it's been a rough one so far for the boys of Fnatic, and Torpedo, they continue to punish without taking a Gold Fury yet.
Gamehunter just runs Crunchy around his own tower there. So what I've seen from Jifffy is early on, he was definitely, walking around the jungle a little bit, trying to see if he can make anything happen. We saw the first blood.
Yeah.
But what happened is he actually transitioned to playing hip-to-hip with Zyrhoes, and I don't know if this was a natural decision, or like if that was like, hey, I need you to kind of stick around the ISIS.
I think that's what it was.
But the problem is that it's not helping, right? Zyrhoes is still
Murrdurr doesn't
dying.
even care. Look at him go that deep. He might get punished for this though, Murrdurr, as he gets stunned, but just got out of tower range. Murrdurr with a good belly flop, but rotation from solo laners makes everybody back away, even Jifffy. And finally making the rotation there with the help of Realzx. Both teams grouped up for that, looking for the big old fight. Nothing happens.
Fnatic have to respond at this point because Torpedo have shown no fear and no hesitation.
The Gold Fury is a response. This is the team that can do the Gold Fury this game. They've got Bacchus with the Intoxicate and the Circle of Protection from ISIS. They can burst a Gold Fury down quicker than Torpedo can, but guess who's in the sky?
It's going to be NinjaBobat here, and he's actually going to find 3 in the back line, and there's Fear No Evil right on the top. Torpedo are trying to get in, but Bobat's already been eliminated. Gamehunter zoning the back line. Crunchy as well on the front line here, and look at this. Torpedo, they're just getting run around in circles.
This is a turnaround by Fnatic. Realzx picking up that kill on Bobat was huge, and now Torpedo have to bravely run away. MoX trying to return some damage on Zyrhoes, not going to find the kill at all, or the pick he's looking for. And Fnatic still giving chase though. Ricochet off the mark from Realzx. We'll get some decent damage off, but you can see Crunchy low on mana, so they can't find anything more. They just get that 1 kill after an engagement by Torpedo.
I like what Crunchy did there in the end. He just sat in the movement speed aura and allowed his team to try and chase down MoX. Obviously, he got away. A really nice sidestep from him to avoid that Ricochet stun. But now, Fnatic showing some life once again. I think they only picked up Bobat there, or did they pick up Murrdurr as well?
Only NinjaBobat died in that whole engagement. NinjaBobat initiated, but immediately Realzx just evaporated. It made him disappear. Really.
Well, a Circle of Protection and Fear No Evil on top of Circle of Protection. And I think he had used his Purification, but it just wasn't enough for how much CC.
He tried to jump away as he was taking a little bit more damage and still paid the price. So 8-6 is slowed down a little bit for a second by Torpedo. I say that as you saw Korinyo looking for a nice impale on Jifffy again. Korinyo's played this very well in the mid lane, even though he's died twice now, unfortunately. He's kind of evened things up, but player damage, well, it's all Gamehunter.
He just has such a strong presence on this Anhur.
BigManTingz.
What are we looking at?
Look at his damage.
Yeah, man, Bacchus.
Bacchus OP. It just shows how much Torpedo grouping up for these engagements then, because most
She's
of
the
Bacchus'
Magi
damage
as
is
well.
Intoxicate.
She's the Magi as well. So
Doesn't do anything.
what? What?
Crunchy! He's going to defend his blue buff.
He's
going to
try.
time this game. You shall not have my blue buff this game anymore, says Crunchy. He keeps Gamehunter at bay. And MrCrunchy will
I want to see Gamehunter just like snipe it over the wall with the umbrella.
That's just rude. Oh my god, if he does this now, he's saying it. Don't do that again.
Okay.
Oh. I was like, no, come on.
He's like, I'll take the little
MoXo
little
trade
ones
with
though.
Realzx, and it's an even trade so far. Don't forget the rewind available for MoX there.
Jungle though, it's BigManTingz. He's actually gonna juke the route so he won't be slowed, and Jifffy sidesteps it as well. Red buff will be stolen by Torpedo though. Oh, but Jifffy could teleport.
Yeah,
I think he connected to Murrdurr.
Under pressure, but in mid lane, Gamehunter poking out Crunchy and Zyrhoes, keeping him at bay for now.
This is brutal. Jifffy and Zyrhoes are both level 11. Like,
I mean, the juggle difference isn't that much. Jiffy's not a big difference over, NinjaBobat here, who's 2-1 and Thor. That's not the big issue. I mean, the difference is the mid laners, yes, but then you look at magical damage, and you see that it's Chronos against an Isis. Isis is going to be there for the control of this game.
well, yeah, obviously, the thing with drafting Isis is you want that pressure early, but it's been the complete opposite. I mean, this Anhur Thor specifically have really countered Zyrhoes, and he hasn't really been able to respond. He's been getting dove, and it's not really his fault either that he's been getting he's been getting dove under towers. This isn't like he's stepping out of line like too far.
Very, very true indeed. 16.5 minutes in. Torpedo are up, but it's not all over yet. You can see Fnatic did win game 1 if you're just tuning in with us, and it was an emphatic win, honestly, for Fnatic. It was pretty clean for the boys of Fnatic, but game 2, Torpedo took a couple of picks away from Fnatic, also banned a couple of things away from Fnatic too, and it seems to be working out a lot better for them now.
No team really wants to start this Gold Fury. I mean, obviously Fnatic aren't going to start it, but Torpedo, they've been worried because honestly, Fnatic have just such a beautiful team fight, right? They have the Suns, they have Intoxicate, they have Circle of Protection, they have Fear No Evil, and they have Dazzling. They have outside of Amaterasu, they have 4 of the best team fighting ultimates in the game.
Circles.
It's console, man.
Circles wins games.
The only thing they needed was probably like if that was a Guan instead of an Amaterasu, like how are you going to kill anyone?
That's a horse. BigManTingz is going to get forced to belly flop away there, worried about an impale coming out from Korinyo.
The circle is the heal.
Oh, that's not an ultimate though.
Hey, man.
Should be. Wall, double tap, does not connect from NinjaBobat there. Korinyo, I actually thought Korinyo leapt in there, but he leapt away as Murrdurr. Now a little bit out of position as his team kind of abandoned him then for a second, but he's tanky enough for now. They're going to re-engage though, as you see. Up in the sky was NinjaBobat. Immediate response from Jifffy there with a Fear No Evil. That was on point to keep Realzx alive that time round.
He had Sanctuary though. Realzx was actually in Sanctuary, and now Circle Protection is going to try and hold the front line, but look at Gamehunter. The baby's just rampaging through Zyrhoes. We'll get back to his tower, but here's Dazzling offense forward from Crunchy.
Crunchy zoning the way of the team. Both solo lanes doing what they can to create a zone, but Gamehunter now out of big baby form. MoX very low, has to rewind back to full health. Awkward position for him though, going to turn his attention to Jifffy. Full cooldowns available, does not find the stun however, so they're not going to be able to find the pick on Jifffy, who did have his purification available still.
A lot of poke, but
messy fight.
No one able to come out on top there.
To be fair, Torpedo come out on top because they're going to be the ones looking at the Gold Fury. His Gamehunter is still pressuring mid lane up against 2 here. Murrdurr trying to create his own on the left-hand side, but the minions are going to follow him all the way. You go, minions. You do your duty. Gamehunter is still fighting and going to find Jifffy 2v1.
It looks like Jifffy, his jump was baited out. Oh, MoX.
Keep an eye on those minions. Oh, they killed him.
You know they could steal the Gold Fury?
Yes, they can.
And it goes to neither team?
Yep. To be fair, he should go the way of the team who's inside they're on, in fairness.
That's
But
true, it
Fury
should.
goes the way of Torpedo. In the end, they don't manage to contest that one. Well enough Fnatic there. They get zoned out, and 7,000 experience lead, 5,500 gold lead.
I like the Fear No... So going back to the start of that fight, I like the Fear No Evil from Jifffy, but the thing is that Realzx had already popped his Sanctuary, so he would have been fine, which means, while the ultimate obviously was intended to help Realzx, his mechanical skill kind of saved himself to begin with, which means they didn't have that Fear No Evil to look to re-engage. Yep. And then the Suns as well, it was kind of splitting the team, but no player got hit by them, so all those big circles weren't really useful outside of the circle of protection.
But he did pop both his relics there, actually, Realzx, at the same time. You can see the cooldown of them because of that. So, situation there where you can see that a little bit off the mark. Level 17, though, is Realzx. He's the highest level on his team right now, compared, though, to Moex, who's a level above him now after the early game aggression that Realzx had, as well as Gamehunter, level 19, 2 levels above MrCrunchy. And realistically, that team fight, both solo lanes had a good impact. Big Baby zoned them away from the engagement, and then in response, MrCrunchy did the same thing. The only difference is Gamehunter picked up a kill towards the end, which helped them get the gold.
Gamehunter is also a little bit further ahead. He has Fatalis online, although I think he just bought that. But he definitely had that Urchin online there. Mid lane, ooh, Zyrhoes. What are you doing that far up by yourself?
Using his circle of protection to try and stay alive as usual, because he's just been focused the entire game here, Zyrhoes. It's been a rough one, and I think we're actually going to see him potentially go into Ethereal Staff here as well, just for the extra health, because he's been focused so much this game. Could be that, as Korinyo, a little bit overextended here. Impale was good, however, the follow-up from Tingz is even better, and now Realzx may get a kill. Ricochet off the mark, and in the sky, though, is Bobat. Maybe they'll punish them.
No, it's actually going to be BigManTingz. He actually doesn't go on to Jifffy. Moex here going to have to rewind to good wall, going to find a stun, but he's going to be in the middle of 4. Sprints popped by Moex. Actually, no, doing a good job of juking, but not enough. Realzx continues the trend, has every single one of Fnatic's kills.
Gamehunter, though, round the back, going to meet the whole team. Jifffy blinks away and gets away from the danger. Gamehunter still trying to make something happen. Zyrhoes, no mana, being beaten down. Is he going to fall? He will, you know. Gamehunter picks up the kill, still creating a zone. He's only got support from 2 members of his team, though, as the re-engage happens from Fnatic.
Bobat trying to get out. He manages to hammer away Gamehunter, the next target, but Fnatic can't lock him down. Bobat going to find a wall, but not going to stun anyone here, and Murrdurr will roll out, but Fnatic, they hold at the very least.
1-for-1 trade, mage for mage overall there. Korinyo did manage to get out of that, as did Jifffy for the most part in that engagement. 10-7 is the scoreline. Tier 2 tower stands on the left-hand side.
Now Torpedo, they're still ahead by about 5,000 golds. The question is, are they going to continuously try and force these things? Because Fnatic, the gap's not going to be closing just yet. Obviously, no team is full build or has everyone level 20 just yet.
I think Torpedo are just trying to force things and keep the pressure on. The problem is there's no real contest for them. They've taken all the tier 1 towers. They've got to go deep for a tier 2. No Gold Fury available. Still too early for them to really look at a Fire Giant against an Isis and a Bacchus, for example, and a Fear No Evil coming out from a Batz. So they've got to try and find picks, force fights, and keep them on the back foot for and not let them farm back into this game.
One thing I'm a little bit worried about is the synergy, I think, on this Torpedo lineup. So going all the way back to last year, the team actually boot camped while they were still in Challengers Cup, or after they had taken first place at it. But the only one who didn't boot camp with them was Murrdurr. It was actually Wolf of Elo Street instead back then. But obviously, once the Titan kind of team disbanded, obviously picking up someone like Murrdurr, a smart look for them. And now we're seeing these multiple times where Murrdurr's blinking in and the rest of Torpedo are running away. So I'm not exactly sure who's shot calling, but the synergy hasn't been there.
Well, they're grouping up on the left-hand side. Torpedo, no Gamehunter hanging mid lane, going to keep some pressure there. Murrdurr controlling the jungle entrances here. There's some wards down for Fnatic to know it, and NinjaBobat hanging around that sentry ward at Moex's place where Murrdurr is there, trying to create some sort of space. Has an ultimate available, obviously, to try and engage onto the tower. So choose a hard engage onto the tower against this team, though. It's not something I'm very excited by the prospect of Torpedo attempted.
Fnatic have a very defensive lineup, I would say. Or at the very least, they can turn it around.
Yeah,
Circle Protection, Intoxicate, it's circles.
Well, the one time they did it was NinjaBobat goes in for the engage and they immediately burst everything and NinjaBobat exploded and it kind of washed the fight. Fnatic ended up coming out on top for a moment. So they've got to be careful about trying to force this too much. I'd like to see them potentially put some pressure elsewhere, maybe put NinjaBobat in mid to force out the mid lane to stay, but instead they're going in deep. Murrdurr just uses ult already, but already Fnatic disengage.
Look at this, though. Gamehunter actually 1v1ing Zyrhoes under his tower. Bobat goes in anyway, hammers out quickly. Fear No Evil used, expecting Torpedo to hard engage there.
Zyrhoes lived, though, in that right middle lane, which is important, but Gamehunter is still chasing him down. He's low as
he found the slow.
Big baby. Stun will not connect because he gets killed beforehand. So the detonation did not go off. Zyrhoes falls, gets soloed by Gamehunter, and now Torpedo grouping up as 4 versus 4 still on this left-hand side.
They should wait a little bit, though. Obviously, Gamehunter was forced back there. There's the teleport. Okay, now they can start forcing this. But it's going to be Suns used defensively just to slow down Torpedo, but Fnatic, they concede it.
This is the best game I've seen Torpedo play this season so far.
Yes.
It was funny enough, I was saying this is the best game I've seen Fnatic play this season. Last game, this is the best game I've seen from Torpedo so far. And it kind of brings up the standard of EU once more, because I was really worried about these bottom 3 potentially starting to get a drift of the other teams potentially, but not the case by the looks of it.
There's Panthera, and then there's everyone else, and it's all the same, right? It's just it's back and forth.
And Hungry for More, they split with Torpedo, so Hungry for More are about the same level as these two teams right now, it feels. Hungry for More maybe able to find some wins against Fnatic later, we'll find out. At the moment, though, Torpedo looking to try and split this game, and in a good position to try and do so. When we go towards late game, I'm happy with Torpedo's lineup here.
They've got some damage online. Obviously, the Anhur, it's a lot of single target though. They don't really have a ton of big circles like Fnatic does. It's going to be a lot on Moix and Korinyo to isolate players, right? Because if Fnatic get to play their lineup, if Torpedo jump in and it's just one big 5v5, it's definitely possible for Fnatic to kind of turn it around. But if it's more isolated fights where there's breakups and it's kind of like some 1v1s, some 2v2s, and some 3v3s kind of all split around, you have to give it to Torpedo, especially with this Chronos.
Especially with this Chronos, who's having a pretty good game, 2-1-1, near enough reaching full build. Relative, who will be up next for him. Zyrhoes in mid lane, though, did finally finish the Ethereal Staff, which I expected. With the focus he's had, he needed the health. And he's finally got some of that online, but how long will it keep him alive? Because even Gamehunter is chasing him down these days.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Gamehunter, or if he had it when Gamehunter was chasing him down in the middle lane.
I think he was working it still. It's a difficult target to pick up an Amaterasu these days, at least at this stage of the game at level 18. Still a little bit behind Gamehunter, but the cancelled flop for a second there onto BigManTingz. It won't matter though, as they're looking for a tier 2 tower on the right hand side. Realzx is going to split push left hand side. Nobody here defending, but the Fire Giant's being done.
And the Fire Giant should go uncontested. Torpedo, they're just holding this for now.
Realzx is back in.
Jifffy doesn't know what's going on.
No, but I think Bacchus does. You can see them running for it now. Fire Giant's taking a long time with only 2 of them doing it. It's going to force the reset from Torpedo. I like the idea, but they're just trying to buy it off too much at the same time. Gamehunter, they can stop him back in here. I was going to say, Realzx could look for something, but Realzx is already recalled back to this fight to control the Fire Giant.
Moix on the front line as well, throwing out some poke there. And Fnatic, they're not going to allow Torpedo to walk away with it just yet. They're still down 10,000 gold, which is about an item on each player there, and the ISIS has not been able to stay alive in these engages, more importantly. Bobat's done.
Bobat's dead. Bobat is dead. He's going to use Purification while in the air. That's not going to help. He has the Sanctuary as well. Big shield from Murrdurr keeps him alive, though, and a Cataclysm too. Bobat will escape thanks to a great play from Murrdurr. And now the pressure was on Jifffy, who has to jump away too. Both junglers low. But the aggression is from Torpedo. They're continuing to chase this potentially as Murrdurr rolls in.
Murrdurr, no ult, but does find the knockup on MrCrunchy. Left-hand side, Jifffy has been getting chased out of his jungle. Gamehunter going to steal away the red buff as well. But Torpedo,
Murrdurr the god.
That was beautiful. The shield, the ultimate, everything was timed
on point perfectly. Ricochet hits from Realzx, and Realzx will put out a ton of damage to the back of that Anhur's head. You may be the king of the jungle, but you ain't the king of 1v1s now. That definitely goes to Hou Yi.
Well, it actually,
or maybe Scotty.
It actually goes to, I cannot think of his name. Captain Twig. He won the 1v1 tournament last year.
Okay.
So he's like the king of the 1v1. What?
Same time as NA won Worlds over a year ago.
Okay. I hear you.
11-7, 27.5 minutes in this game. Fire Giant being looked at by Fnatic now. I think it's just more for ward coverage than actual attempt here coming out from Fnatic. They just want to get control of that Fire Giant pit. And Fnatic's job, realistically here, get to late game. Get their carries online. Get them all level 20. Get the catch up in itemization, which Torpedo has the lead on.
Jifffy is working on Deathbringer here. Doesn't have it completed just yet, so wanting to put out a little bit more damage. Obviously, the rest of his team's going to be there. There's a lot of control on Fnatic as well to keep themselves alive. Obviously, you have to be worried about Gamehunter here, but Gamehunter's peaked, right? He's full build, so he's not getting any stronger than he is right now. If Fnatic can just get every player an extra item or two, it's just going to help them stay alive.
Aggression coming out from Torpedo here. Good dash from Crunchy though, gets him away from a danger where he could have got caught. Murrdurr still rolling in, gonna find the knock-up. Won't be any follow-up from Torpedo there though. And Torpedo's in a bit of an awkward spot now because they're doing everything right. They're taking the towers over and over again, but MrCrunchy gets caught, rewinds. You don't want to go there, my friend. You do not want to go there. Luckily, he's got a team in response helping him out. Gamehunter zoning too, but Realzx will fall down to MrCrunchy, who gets out of the danger thanks to a good collapse from his team. Realzx is dead, and now Torpedo looking to run this down.
Murrdurr's chasing. There's Cataclysm looking for MrCrunchy here. 3 members of Torpedo in the mid lane, and Gamehunter coming in from the side. Zyrhoes was on an awkward island there, but it's going to be Korinyo to find BigManTingz, and all of Fnatic retreat into their Phoenix. Their middle tier 2 should fall. Meditation to keep everyone healthy as well for Torpedo.
I expected when we saw MrCrunchy reround that he was dead. He rewound into dangerous territory alone, but immediately Bobat and Murrdurr both turn up to support. Gamehunter zones away 2 damage dealers in Zyrhoes and Jifffy away from the fight. And in the end, it was Realzx that paid the price there. He didn't get any further support and ended up getting picked.
Look at that damage. Look at that damage from Gamehunter, 21,000, doubling anyone on his team, and then 8,000 more than Realzx, who's the second most.
He's been zoning multiple people. He's been hitting people with a big baby over and over again. And doesn't even have Frostbound Hammer, just using that Fatalis to keep the pace with the team. Obviously, the buffs that we've seen to Baby brought him back with the extra range of his ultimate as well, and the extra mobility.
And now Fnatic, they're going to have to hold up. We're 30 minutes in. They're down 7 to 13 in kills. All 7 kills still on Realzx.
Yep.
He is the man that, if Fnatic are going to turn this game around, it's got to be on him.
And that's why, it was a big point to mention that he died in the last engagement, because that gave MrCrunchy a power spike because of the fact that he shut him down. He would have got extra gold for that. Allowed him to finish that run of Tahuti. Our Fire Giant, as we saw, go the way of Torpedo. And now Fnatic are on the back foot, but they're good at defending. Realistically, if they can group as a 5 under a tower, they can do it. But Torpedo have stopped them doing that with Gamehunter split pushing.
And that's what happened, right? When the fights break down, if it's smaller 2v2s or 3v3s, I don't think Fnatic win it.
Nope.
Right? They can't win these smaller engagements. They need to have this all-in team fight. And Gamehunter, beautiful job. He zoned off, I believe it was both Zyrhoes and Jifffy away from the fight. MrCrunchy was focused on, I believe it was MrCrunchy, and Bobat comes crashing down and keeps Realzx busy.
Keeps them busy indeed. Gamehunter going to throw out the umbrella. Not going to find anything yet. It's not raining just yet.
Man, what if it's just started raining? Does
does
Hobble get a buff?
Hobble gets a buff, Poseidon gets a buff.
Oh man,
Vamana is unstoppable because he's
just immune at all. Yeah. Everyone else is slowed.
What's going to happen? Desert Fury gets popped up there by NinjaBobat. Sorry, by Korinyo, I should say. In the skies, NinjaBobat now looking to dunk down. Who's the focus going to be on? As Jifffy goes in, tries to do something, but Korinyo dealt damage back. And BigManTingz isolated in the front. Gamehunter will pick up Jifffy. Tings will get away back to safety, but the Phoenix falls as Gamehunter zones the rest of Fnatic away. We're looking for the middle Phoenix here as well. Now Torpedo are in position to potentially take this game off of Fnatic.
And Gamehunter still on zone duty. Doesn't even matter, finds a kill. MrCrunchy surges forward, takes out Realzx as well. Meditation. Torpedo, they should be able to split here. And look at the team. Surrender comes out from Fnatic. That's going to be it.
Torpedo take a game back off Fnatic. Game 1, Fnatic looks so good, the best we've seen them all season. In response, however, we get the exact same thing from Torpedo as the best I've seen them play. Best I've seen them play.
That was very well executed. Everyone on point, and honestly, Korinyo's on her as well. Very, very strong. Like he was connecting his autos.
I think that was a bit of I want to say like a little bit through Fnatic a little bit, because we've not seen Korinyo play any AD carries really in the mid lane this season. We've not seen MrCrunchy on Chronos before, so I would have fallen for that trap myself, going, okay, I expect Chronos mid, because we've seen him played twice by Korinyo. However, the Anhur worked out strong. It allowed the rotations from Bobat.
Let's take a quick look at First Blood. It actually went over to Fnatic's side. I believe it was Realzx who picked that one up. And this was just a very well-executed gank from Jifffy.
This is a good start once again. I mean, to be fair, it's BigManTingz followed by a Ricochet, and then they actually pick up the kill of the Suns for Realzx with the auto attacks as well. So good performance from the gank early on. Realzx had a good game, though, overall. He got picked towards the end by MrCrunchy, and that was the end of the game for me. When Realzx died, I think that was just the back of Fnatic being broken there.
It's like, now that Torpedo can kill Realzx, how are they gonna hold out?
That's what we kind of have to hope for sometimes. But that's a split. I'm surprised that we actually had a split there.
Yeah, I think I put, I thought this would be 2-0 Fnatic,
I was
and
2-0
off
Fnatic.
of game 1, I was like, okay, they're looking really good, but
Agreed.
Torpedo showing that they can still play with, I guess, you can't really call Fnatic big boys
Well,
right now. They're still at the
Torpedo's
bottom.
record now. I mean, the only game they've actually full out lost so far this season was against Panthera. They split with Leftovers, and they've split with Hungry for More, and they've split now with Fnatic, which means Torpedo, well, they've only lost to Panthera technically, so they're still in the running for a good contest if they can keep things going.
I mean, look, they're 3 wins off of second place. Now, no one's catching Panthera, right? I think everyone's going to establish that Panthera is the best. Paradigm also splitting a couple games recently, both with Cringe Crew and I believe was it Dignitas? It was so 2 of those middle of the road teams as well. So I mean, clearly everyone is mortal outside of Panthera, although they did drop 1 game.
Well,
but
everybody's mortal, but the difference is now what can Fnatic do against Hungry for More? Hungry for More, they found 1 win so far. They did actually split with Torpedo Hungry for More, so will they do the same thing and get the split with Fnatic? We don't know. What do you think?
it's possible. I mean, obviously in the mid lane in that second game, Zyrhoes wasn't really able to do anything. He was getting pressured. A lot of it was, I think a couple of it was on him, where he was definitely pushed out when he shouldn't have, especially with how much damage was coming out of that mid jungle combo from Torpedo. I mean, Korinyo's Anhur was just phenomenal. Like,
Really good
I was a
play.
little bit worried about it at first, but it really showed up, and his positioning was very strong as well.
Desert Furies were on point as well. I think the Impales were good, the Pillars were good, and the RNG crits were very important too.
He was rolling some dice. They call it Snoopy crits, right? Because he always crits no matter what.
Well,
I mean, not anymore.
Crit? No, he plays Warriors now.
No, I'm saying before he used to always
God,
crit.
is he building
That's
Deathbringer
what
Warriors?
happened. Snoopy switched over to solo lane, and all his luck dispersed to the entire league, and now everyone's critting.
And that's where Throwing Dagger came from, Snoopy leaving the Hunter role. We also had some plays from Gamehunter this game as well. Gamehunter had a pretty good performance on that Vamana. Not a big shock to see him get credit with some highlight reel plays. And this was a rundown 2v1 there under the tower. We saw him solo Zyrhoes in the mid lane at one point. And this was a fight towards, I want to say, the middle of the game here, where he just runs into the tower unafraid and once again just beats him down.
And we saw this a lot from Gamehunter. It was kind of like zoning, except
this is the one
with the zoning, he just killed them nonstop.
So this was a long engagement because Zyrhoes lives a long time here, ends up using the circle to heal himself back up and the sanctuary. But Gamehunter ends up coming out of Big Baby eventually, I want to say, or maybe not.
Oh, he was just out of time.
He just got out
He
of Big
chases
Baby.
him through the tower.
And
And then I think Gamehunter could have died here if the stun detonated on him.
well, if the Broly didn't connect, he would have been stunned by the Spirit Ball because it wasn't enough damage, and he would have found the kill for Zyrhoes potentially there in the mid lane. But a good pickup by Gamehunter, good performance by Torpedo.
Let's take a look at the next couple games we're going to be seeing today. It's going to be Fnatic once again on their doubleheader. They're going to be taking on Hungry for More. After that, we will have some console league qualifiers as well.
That's correct for the European scene. And then obviously Sunday you can see multiple NA teams competing, followed by North American Console League. But for now, we're going to take a very short break as Fnatic get themselves ready for their next set today. Hungry for More will be their opposition. Will they win?